If you are one of those who still find it difficult to understand the concepts of the different types of trade in the crypto space, talking about the margin trade, the futures trade, the spot trade, and you can't even get to tell apart the difference between all these concepts of trades, then this video is for you. By the end of this video, you shall have a full understanding of the concept of the margin trade, and this knowledge would guide you and help you tell apart the difference between the margin trade and every other type of trade in the crypto space. I would also furnish you with the ideas and the knowledge that would help you know the pros and the cons of these types of trade, especially the margin trade. And there's just one thing. It is one thing to know how to trade, it is another to understand the type of trade you are getting into. And by understanding these types of trade, it would help you know the type of trader that you are, discover yourself in this trading space. For you, spot trade might be your best thing, whereas you are there battling in the futures trade or even in the margin trade. So why don't you join me in this video while I expose you and I take you on a journey on this fantastic knowledge that would help you change your trading story. What is margin trade? Margin trade is a type of trade or a trading concept by which you use third-party funds to trade assets or access liquidity. On margin trade, trader can access or achieve a greater profit by leveraging on funds provided by third parties to push their trades. Whenever the market goes in your predicted direction, greater profit is achieved. And whenever the market goes opposite to your prediction, greater loss is also experienced. This effect of a greater loss and a greater profit is what is recognized as the leverage effect. Now, let's talk about leverage. What is leverage? I want you to think of a level balance, right? So it is on a balanced scale, that is a scale of equilibrium, and you want to tilt it to your own preferred direction. Or just imagine a seesaw, right? And your weight is not enough to pull it down to your own direction. So you borrow weight from, let's say, nature, and you put it on your own side, then you sit on the seesaw, and what is it called? The seesaw tilts opposite to your own direction. That is called leverage. Now, let's bring this into the trading space. So let's assume you want to trade, but the money you have is not enough to access the kind of profit you desire. You can go to your exchange, maybe in this case, Binance, your Bybit, whatever. Then you borrow some funds from them. These funds you borrow is what is called the leverage. You are leveraging on third-party funds from the exchange to have more weight on your position, then to tap into greater liquidity and profit. There are different types of leverage that can be given to you, or let's say size of leverage that can be given to you depending on the size of your portfolio and to some extent, to some exchanges, your trade history. Now, having talked about leverage and understanding the concept of leverage, let's talk about margin. What are the types of margin in the crypto space? We have the cross margin and we have the isolated margin. The cross margin is always automatically toggled on your trading platform, especially on Binance. And when it comes to cross margin, whatever profit that you are making on a trade is expressed across all open positions on that same pair. But when you are trading isolated margin, the profit or the loss is only affected by the trading pair or the particular trade with which you are expressing your profit or your loss. In simple terms, let's assume you have a trading position on Solana USDT. You have another position on Solana USDT. Let's assume the first is a long position, the second is a short position, or you open two long positions on Solana USDT on the trading system. And the trade gets to go the opposite direction of your prediction. That means the market is dipping. When you are trading on a cross margin, the loss is going to be affected or be experienced in all of your Solana USDT position. However, if you change the function to an isolated margin, the loss is just going to be affected by that particular one with which you entered at the wrong position. Some people prefer the cross margin, while some people prefer the isolated margin. For me, I don't even care. Let me know what yours are. Maybe you prefer the cross margin or you prefer the isolated margin. Let me know which one you feel is the coolest. Before we forge ahead, there is also another important function you must know before setting or getting into margin trading, and that is the auto transfer function. What is the auto transfer function? The auto transfer function is a program placed by most exchanges to automatically transfer funds from your spot account or your spot wallet to your margin wallet to cover for your trades and your loss. Now, before setting your trade, you must decide maybe you want that to happen as a function for you, or you don't want that to be effective or to be active on your trading system. And to do that, you just have to, toggle it off or toggle it on, which I'm going to show you later on in this video. So now let's move to the very practical part of this video, which is where I'm going to show you live examples on how you can get to set your margin trades. Also explain to you the function of the auto borrow and the auto repay, which is to me the most important thing you have to understand when it comes to trading margin. Auto borrow and auto repay is the best function, and let me say the icing on the cake when it comes to trading margin, because it allows you to borrow money from the exchange and it allows you to repay your debt once you close your trade. But how do you get to do this? How do you get to access this fund? How much can you borrow? How much can you repay per time? Or what do you need to have in your account, or how much do you need to have in your account before you can get to borrow? I believe these are questions that might be coming through your mind, and for me, they are not difficult at all. I'm going to answer all of this, and this is going to lead us to the practical part of this particular video. Come and let me show you how you can get to do all of this. So before we get started, there is something I want you to do for me. That is you liking this video, sharing with your colleagues that you believe this video will be very helpful for, and get to subscribe to this channel. When you like this video, YouTube gets to recommend it for other people, and that is a little way of you just thanking me or encouraging me to record more insightful videos like this. All right, so when you log in your Binance, to access the margin trade, you come right to the trade interface right here, up here. Then you click on margin, and when you've done that, you'll be brought to this interface which I have on my screen, right? Binance. Now let's talk about some things before we get to set our first trade, and that is the fact that you have to understand the concept of the auto borrow, because the auto borrow is the real icing of the cake when it comes to trading margin, because it enables you and helps you to be able to trade on a third-party funds. Borrow money from the exchange to carry out your trade whenever your money is not enough. You can either choose to borrow, or you can either choose just to trade with your own money. Now, if maybe you are new or this is your first time seeing a trading interface like this, let me take my time to just explain this to you. On the left there is where you have your order book, that is the number of orders on this particular pair that is going on, and here is where you have your pair list, where you can get to search or click the particular currency pair you want to trade, and below is the market trades. Below here is where you have your orders, where you can get to choose either limit order, your market order, your stop limit order, and you can either get to come cross away from maybe the margin trade to the spot trade, or you can also choose to either trade the cross margin or the isolated margin right here. However, if you're also still wondering how I got to this place, all you need to do is log into your Binance app, you come to trade right here and you click on margin. After doing that, you'll be brought to this particular interface, right? So now, before you can get to use the auto borrow or the auto function repay function, you must understand this thing, that you can either choose to do it manually or you allow the system do it for you automatically. By clicking on this particular function right here, the settings button here, you can come down, you will see where you have your preference and you have your layout. By doing that, you'll see where you have the auto repay or auto borrow for margin, which is currently on my trade, and you can see where you have the auto transfer for margin, like I mentioned earlier, where I said I was going to show you how to do that. So you can either choose to toggle them off like this, and whenever you want to borrow, you have to borrow manually, or whenever you want to transfer money from either from your spot or your fiat wallet to your margin wallet, you do that manually. I prefer to have it manually than automatically, so I can get to make sure everything that is done on my account is done by me alone. I don't know which one works for you. Can let me know which one you find comfortable for you, either the auto or the manual one. So now let's get to set our first trade on the margin. Now, right now, I have this on the cross and not on the isolated. I'm currently trading on the cross margin, right? And let's assume I want to trade the ICP USDT pair, and I want to, go long on this particular trade. So now let's create our first order on the margin platform. Let's assume I want to trade the ICP USDT pair, and I want to enter this trade. After looking at my analysis, I feel like the price is going to come down to 2.9, and I want to enter at a profitable place of 3 USDT per one, and I want to purchase 3 ICP, right, at the price of 3 USDT. As you can see right now, my balance is 0. So the first thing I have to do, because I'm now on auto transfer, is to fund this wallet. So for the sake of this video, I deposited some amount of money on my spot wallet, and I'm just going to click on max and I'll press confirm. And after I've done that, you would see that I have the 6 USDT showing as my available balance. However, remember, I want to purchase 3 USDT or 3 ICPs for the price of 3 USDT, or let's even say 5, right? 5, right? Let's say I want to purchase 5 ICP at the price of 3 USDT, and that is going to be costing me 15 USDT in total, right? And the whole amount I have in my account is just what, 6 USDT. So you would see the total is 15 here, and yeah, I can get to toggle it on and off, but I prefer just doing it manually. So I get to do it manually. I will input this, and that is how it's been done. Then the next thing I have to do is click on margin by ICP. Now by doing this, you would see that the amount I'm borrowing is 8 USDT, right? And also to make it automatic rather, right, because the process I'm going to be using is I'm going to set my take profit and my stop loss. Now let's imagine I want to take my profit at the price of 10 USDT per ICP, right? 10 USDT, right? And I want to set my stop loss at I'm entering at 3 USDT, right? And I want to set my stop loss at 2.5. Right here you would see everything that has to do with this trade right here: the estimated fee, the borrowing amount I'm borrowing from them, and the maximum USDT. Now whenever I get to sell my 5 USDT at the price of 10, my 5 ICP at the price of $10 per one, I would have a profit of 50 USDT. Well, let's say an income of 50 USDT, and by then I'll click on margin by ICP. Okay, sorry, I didn't click on this. Click on 2.5, 2.5. And I click on margin by ICP, and you will see that immediately I will have my order open right here, just waiting for this to happen. Now after making this trade, and let's assume the price has gotten to 10 USDT, and I want to close my trade, assume I didn't sell it, my take profit and my stop loss, which I will not advise you don't do. Then I'll come back to this place right here. I'll cancel this trade for the sake of this video. I'll come back to this place right here, and I'll click on 10. I'll click on the amount of USDT I'm willing to sell at the price of 5 USDT. Then you'll see my total profit, and I'll click on sell ICP. By clicking on sell, the exchange will automatically fund my account to the amount of 50 USDT, then deduct the borrowed amount of 8 USDT, which I borrowed earlier from them. Now let's look at it also in this way, answering the question that I believe must be popping through your mind: what if the trade goes in the opposite direction of your prediction? Let us assume I entered this trade at the price of 3 USDT, and instead of the price going up, it came down to 2 USDT per ICP. So let's assume the market now comes to 2 USDT per ICP, and I want to sell at this point. By then I would have incurred a loss of $5, right? Remember, I borrowed how much? $10 from the exchange, and by then the price came down to 5 USDT per one. Remember, the total amount of the trade before was 15 USDT, and I have 6 USDT in my account. I borrowed 10 from them. The first thing they're going to do is even deduct their money from my account before it gets to that part, because by that time I won't be able to repay them the amount I borrowed for them. So in a case where which your account can't even get to carry you to that particular point which you set your stop loss, the exchange would automatically cancel out your trade. I believe you understand that. The exchange will automatically cancel out your trade for you so that the money they borrowed you won't be lost and you'll be left with the money in your account, whatever is left in your trading account. And let's also assume that by the time they canceled out, you can't even get to repay them all of the money you borrowed from them. They would also have you pay back the money manually from your other accounts, which is why, or one of the reasons why, I don't prefer the auto transfer, because I would then like to transfer the money from my own wallet to the margin wallet so they can get to deduct the money. Guys, this is how you get to trade margin on Binance. For me, I feel that the margin trade is one of the coolest type of trades in the crypto space that one can easily use to scale up one's portfolio or acquire lots of profits. However, this is something you must be very sure of and understand the trading system very well. That is, make sure your trades are actually going to be right and you not, to avoid you losing out all your money on trading. You can let me know what you feel about the margin trade. For me, it's cool. I don't know what you feel about it. If you feel like it's not cool, you can comment right here on this video and let me know your thoughts concerning the margin trade. So guys, this is how you get to trade margin on Binance. Until when next time come your way, stay cool and play big.